Hi Elliot, I'm Mark, the owner of the car, and this is Mark, who's the engineer at Just Campus, who's been responsible for project managing the restoration and doing the putting back together of the car. We want to do you a quick handover video of the car, because obviously under normal circumstances we'd have shown you around the car in person. So we'll start off by showing you all the magazines and things. So we're making you a box up of all the magazines and paperwork to do with the car, and in it we're also packing up things like the original Volkswagen sign. We just wanted to cover off for you that the number plate when the car got imported was this, and for a short time we put a private plate on it, and now when it's being exported to you it's back onto its original number plate for you here. This is its original museum birth certificate, which is with the car, and there's also a copy in the folder for you. This I thought you might find interesting. It's an Australian magazine from a few years ago, but it's got a big article all about DNSs, so I thought you might like that. So we'll send that over to you. So Elliot, this is an interesting magazine. This is a magazine from 1970, and it features the beach buggy that was made out of the crashed 356, which is all the running gear that's now underneath the DNS. So I thought you'd find that an interesting piece of history for the car. This is a book that I got given at Hessisch-Oldendorf. It's about somebody else's restoration of a DNS, but since that's restored, it's interesting for you, but it's for a piece of reference only. Because we couldn't hand it over in person, I've made you up folders of all the different bits about the vehicle. And I've tried to write on the front of them post-it notes so you understand what they are. So this is the original invoice. This is your invoice for the vehicle. These are stickers which we make and we put on the window of all of our cars, just to explaining what the cars are for people and saying please don't touch them. And then inside, these are things like, this is the invoice for the engine, so it's got all the specs. This is the people that did the crank and line boring. This is the article that's been sent to Hot VW, so it'll be published once it's over with you in America. And then this is the story of the words that we gave to Goodwood, just a copy of them. These are the pictures, just general pictures of the restoration, but we have done you a USB stick with everything on it. This is the granddaughter cutting the sign off the building. Obviously the sign's going to come with you over to the States. I put in things like we had special tailpipes made for them in case you want to make them slightly different. They're the measurements you need. This is a 1989 classic car, a vintage Volkswagen magazine, which I printed out for you, but it's got War and Peace. I don't think you'll find anything that's got more information on DNS, and the actual car's somewhere featured in here, and it's listed at the back. That's the second one down. This is the book that this is the Porsche's book that then got written off and made into the beach buggy, and you'll see that the engine number and gearbox number that are listed in here are the ones in the car. This is a picture from the day we collected the car, and then these are those George Barris pictures. Again, we've put you on the USB stick copies of them, and we also framed them, and they're in the box to go onto that floor pan. So just different pictures from, I think, about 51 or 52. And then this is a picture from circa 1982 when the car had just been restored outside the DNS original factory. This is a magazine article about them from 1952. And these are the printouts of the pictures when we were at the RAC club. This is the second folder we've done for you, Elliot. So here's the USB stick and a spare keyring for the car. These are particularly special. These are original press photos that I got through the Grumman's of the car, and it's thought they're taken sort of very early 1950s, but they're like a one-off. This is its birth certificate. Only a copy of it because our UK registration people kept the original, but I did a high quality copy of it, of the Austrian logbook and all of its details. This came from, I was given this, but it's in German at some point, it needs to be translated. That's the invoice just so it stays in its history of when I bought it from the Bavarian Pickers and part exchanged in the postal bus. That's a copy of the birth certificate. This was I found underneath the back seat. It's a rally badge from sometime, 1990. This is its invite to Salon Privé. And this is when it was at Savile Row. It's featured in here. This is when it was at Goodwood, and it's featured in their newsletter saying that it won, which is how it was then able to go to the RAC Club for the last week. And this is its Savile Row invite. This is its certificate for attending Salon Privé, which in England is about equivalent to Pebble Beach, and it got like a coin medal there, which it won. And this is the present I sent you over for Thanksgiving that just luckily reappeared with us in time to send over to you. This is the car that the granddaughter gave me on the day that I bought the car, and I called in to see her and show her the car in 2019. And she gave me this car, explaining that her grandfather's or father's dream was to have a grey car, and she gave me this model which had been her father's model. And then she also gave me a new old stock one of their badges, so these obviously belong to you now. And that's really how we ended up choosing the colour and the style for the car. So Elliot, on the car itself, in period, they had a tray that fitted in here, and it had a really fat rubber bumper, rubber that went round it. For my taste, I didn't like it, so we decided to make because we'd only made modifications that can be undone really easily, we made these handmade bumper irons, which look like Pre-A Porsche for body bumper cars. And we've also, you'll note, we've taken out all the mounting points here for the bumpers to give it a smoother look, and hidden all the mountings on the inside. The nose emblem is original to the car, and it's Pre-A Porsche. The headlights were the same in the early 50s, Porsche or Volkswagen, but they are the correct year lights for the car. And the indicators, we found the correct indicators, which are 50, 51, 52, Pre-A Porsche. The door handles are just early Beetle, as are the lock mechanisms. The door only wants to be shut gently, and it's like a safe. It doesn't want to be slammed. The mirrors are Talbot Berlin. The trims here are the same as Hedmuller, as are the trims here. These are all Hedmuller, which you'll recognise. The catches are Pre-A Porsche, as I understand. The side trim is barn door, and then in period at the factory, they're obviously too short. They've had to join two together, you can see. That's the original join from the factory in the 50s, so we've just left it. At the rear of the car, this is standard for the 50, 51, 52 cars, where they have this sort of, well, I think it looks like a pig's nose air vent. And then, again, on the rear bumper, we've done the same by smoothing out all the mounts. Again, if you want to be a purist, you can just put a standard bumper on it, same at the front, and make a tray to go here. Again, the tray fitted with like a rubber trim around it. For my taste, I just didn't like it. The rear lights, you can see in the pictures when we restored it, when we took the paint off, we found the original holes to show where these original lights were, and they're just brazed in some plates behind and filled over them. But these are now the correct lights, and they're original Hella. Again, they're like 50, 51, 52 Pre-A Porsche, so they're original correct Hella lights. And we'll show you in a moment. I got a pair of new old stock Hella rear lights, and then I've had 3D printed inside in 12 volt rather, so that they're also stop, tail and indicator light. So on the engine, we took the engine that came out of the beach buggy, which is a 1500 standard engine, and we had it completely stripped and rebuilt. You've got all the invoices in there, and you can see the CC it's taken out to. It's supposed to be 120 horsepower. The car's only got 150 something miles on it, so we haven't driven it hard, but it feels like it's really going to go. And it's got a camshaft and the carbs from a 1500S, and we tried to make it as correct as we could to all the original period pictures we could find, including all the water slide decals, having the Bosch 6 volt, upside down. We even found the original Bosch Porsche voltage regulator, the correct dynamo. We really went to town. The temperature sender is on here, which is an original Porsche 356 stalk gauge We're going to give you a legend because actually the car doesn't overheat, but the gauge isn't accurate, but then it is 70 years old. Because once we realised we were over 2,500 hours, we just didn't stop. So when they retrimmed the whole car, all the leatherwork is English Connolly hide, including even the bulkhead is Connolly hide leather. To shut the boot lid, not trying to be patronising, but just so you understand, it has to go up, it clicks, then it drops down, and you just turn the handle. So the bonnet pull is just like a standard Beetle. There's no safety catch, it just goes straight up. And again, it locks, and again, to shut it, not trying to be patronising, but it goes back up, you have to wait for it to click, and then comes back down, and it just goes down with a gentle click. The fuel tank is standard Beetle, but at the DNS factory, they reduced the height of the neck, because the cap hits the bonnet otherwise, which is something we had to learn. It's got an original SWF washer bottle that was kindly donated to the car by Bob at BBT. And because we wanted to make the car safe, we put dual circuit brakes on it, but we wanted to hide out of the way the modern 80E master cylinder for it, and we wanted to have electric washers, and again we've hidden it out of the way, so we made this little cover for it. This is a Porsche tyre gauge, and the leather cover for it, if you ever want it, is in with all the spare parts that came with it, and an original Porsche towel. The VW cap, it is tight because it's got a new gasket on it, but when it's properly locked in place, the VW lines up with the front of the car. We know that because we had to spin the neck round to make sure it lined up properly. If you pull these two little tags, this lifts out the way, and you can see the complete new wiring loom that we've made for it. Everything's with the original braided wires, and the wiring colours match a 55 Porsche.
Yeah, so the fuse box that we've installed, I will obviously give you a legend for that, and obviously let you know exactly which fuse does what. I managed to try and keep as close to the 50s Porsche wiring as possible, and that runs throughout the whole car. It was a bespoke build, but as I say, we had to start with something like the Porsche, and there's some extras that I put on which I will now go through. Firstly, it is 12 volt, although we have got the 6 volt radio in. The 6 volt radio does actually work. It's got a resistor dropper on there, so it does turn on, but it only crackles. It doesn't necessarily pick anything up because we never fitted the aerial. So in addition to our original location for our fuse box, we have 3 extra fuses which are hidden behind this panel here. To get to them, you will need to use a screwdriver to remove the 2 trim screws and then remove it. Those 3 fuses are for our heated seats and our heated screen.
This is the original 50s Stork oil temperature gauge, and it runs on a mercury capillary action, so obviously you can't take it apart. So we've very carefully fed the tube that runs through, and it runs inside the heater channel coming out at the rear, and running along parallel with it is the cable, because the tacho's a mechanical tacho rather than an electric tacho.
So not to be too patronising, Elliot, the reverse selection for this gearbox is the same as a Porsche. So your Beetles or VWs will be back this way, the Porsche is forward, so over across and forward for reverse. And then as you pull it back out, it will naturally come to a gate, which then we push forward into first, second, third and fourth. Now the gearbox is still quite tight, it's had a complete rebuild, and the type of synchro mesh, it's a cone synchro mesh. They take a little while to bed in, so it will feel stiff for a little while. So we've only covered 153 miles. It has started to slacken up, but will obviously, the more use, it will become easier. So in the glove box here, Elliot, we've got our switches for our heated seats. And if we push them, our latch relays will latch in and heat the bottoms of the seats for 30 minutes. Now, during that time, you can turn the ignition off, and the seats will continue to heat for 30 minutes. So if you were sat somewhere and you wanted the engine off, you could still have the warmth through the seats. The top switch is for the heated screen. Again, this only works with the ignition on. You push forward and click back. The light is illuminated, and that will stay on for 15 minutes. So they're all on the timer, they're switch off. There's also a USB connection in the back of the glove box, just below the interior lamp there for it. So the interior lamp that's in the glove box actually goes off on a micro switch behind the glove box itself from this arm here. So as I close it, it just literally switches it off. So you already recognise the key. It's an accessory VW key. Obviously you know about these with the key that goes in. and to release the key, there's a button underneath that you push to take out. So that's our ignition on. Over here we have our lights, and the push button on the floor is obviously for the main beam and dip beam. Next to it we've got the wiper pull. The washers are actually on the end of the indicator stalk here, and obviously we've got our indicators here as well. Our horn's on the centre. Our start button for the starter motor is next to the radio. Now, as I say, the radio does work, and it does actually work in accessory position also, so you can leave the radio on with the ignition off. While we're here, just to let you know, the clocks and dash dials are all Pre-A Porsche 356.
So the hood goes up and it's fairly standard as you expect, but when it goes back down, to stop it looking like a Beetle pram hood, you just have to push this back, which allows the hood to go really down, low and flat, and then just put the buckles down.
So Elliot, there's also storage behind the rear seat. The back just drops down and you've got storage here. Also, when the bodywork was being done, we had 2 mounting points put in for harnesses. So we were either going to run harnesses or seat belts, because obviously we were going to do a few Peter Max Müller events, but we couldn't decide what we were going to do, so we've left those. But the points are there if you ever want to put belts in.
As Mark said earlier, the radio works, but it just crackles. This is the original aerial that was fitted in period and came with the car. And it fits here and runs up, but it actually sticks up to about here, so it means that you had to unscrew it every time to take it out, to put the hood up and down. I decided not to fit it because we were trying to keep the car as clean and minimalist as possible, but it'll be in the spares. If you want to drill a hole and fit it, that's your choice. Originally the car had cross-ply tyres on it, and when we did all the restoration, we trial fitted the spare wheel in the front with the cross-ply tyres on it, which are smaller. After we'd finished the restoration, I saw on the Pre-A forum that a lot of the Pre-A boys are running these, and I bought them in from America. They look like a cross-ply, but they're actually radials. But there is a downside that I discovered afterwards. It means the spare wheel with the radial tyre on it doesn't fit. So the choice is you either just run without a spare tyre, or you need to put it back onto cross-plies. For my choice, I'd rather run on radials and be safe, and just carry one of those cans where you can inflate a tyre if needs be. And lastly, there is obviously a correct 16-inch spare wheel with this same matching tyre coming with the car. So the screens, as Mark said earlier, are heated, and we had them made because the original screens were in it were damaged. The rubber, having done loads of research, turns out is this almost identical profile to a side window for a Vanagon, late Vanagon, so like something like 86 to 92. The centre rubber is Porsche Pre-A split window Porsche, and the trim here from new, this is a replacement one because the original one was really damaged, is Beetle side trim, which at the factory they cut down and radius the ends.
So the exhaust, Elliot, we had modified. It was a standard Pre-A Porsche 356 exhaust. We've actually had the body shortened so it fits up in much better inside the body. So the main exhaust body we had Zerkatech coated, which helps prevent heat loss from the exhaust to protect the body, because some of them we'd seen the paintwork had actually crazed from the heat. Also, I'd put some extra heat resistant fiberglass sheeting on the inside too. The oil that the guy recommends from the engine rebuild is this Valvoline VR1. It's the 2050 race oil. So it's probably worth continuing using this after the engine's running completely. Again, Elliot, sorry, not being rude, but just to reiterate the key, we only need to turn it around obviously until the ignition lights are on, the starter button's here. I normally give it 2 or 3 pumps when it's cold to fire it up on the throttle before we hit the button.